Welcome to Café Con Leche with Liz
and Lil. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're back again. It's quarantine edition. So thank you for tuning in today.
This is our first episode back since ending our run of In the Heights at Cincinnati Playhouse and Park. And as we all know, a lot has changed since then.
Hello.
Yes, hello, girl. We've decided to relaunch the Café Con Leche series as a way to highlight how connected we all are, even when we can't be together. Mm-hmm. And what better group of people to do that with than In the Heights familias across the country.
Wah, wah, wah. And it's also an opportunity for these artists that we have, our guests, to highlight some theaters around the country and some artistic projects that maybe you might want to donate to or tune into or put on your radar, because we got to keep the arts alive.
Yes! It is our pleasure to introduce you to our very first guests and the people responsible for mounting my very first production of In the Heights, the incredibly talented and kind Rogelio Douglas Jr. and Morgan Marcell.
Yes, everybody brought their coffee. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. No, they treat me very well here where I'm at, to be honest.
That's
so
wonderful.
I'm just grateful.
That brings us to the first two things that I want to talk about. First of all, the two of you are coming to us from, Rogelio's coming from Dubai. Right?
Yeah. I'm in the Middle East.
And Morgan, you're coming to us from?
Montauk in New York.
Montauk in New York. So everybody's quarantining.
Upstate. Get it, girl.
Away.
She said, I'm going to get out of this city.
She was like, I need some nature.
That must be so nice. Yeah, that must be so nice to be able to get outside, because I know we have a backyard. I have an apartment. I'm in Chicago. And we have an apartment that's got a backyard. So that backyard has been a godsend. And then we've got a nice little nature trail near here. That's got like all these signs that are like, wear your masks, be safe, stay distant. And so I go for bike rides every day.
Nice. Where in Chicago are you?
Well, for the longest time I lived in Rogers Park, which is like the most north you can get.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, this last year we moved out to Lincolnwood, so we're technically in the suburbs. We're not in Chicago proper anymore.
No worries. I used to live in Oak Park. My family had a house there.
Everybody, listen, all my actor friends live in Oak Park.
I love Oak Park. Yep. I still have friends there now. And I'm actually flying. Well, now it looks like, they're going to be able to get me home now. So
that's great.
Looks but my connection flight is actually going to be in Chicago. So I think I'll leave Dubai, go to Chicago, and then from there I have to go to LA. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds so good. And you're in Dubai because I wrote this down. I wrote it down.
It's okay.
You got handpicked by Quincy Jones to do a residency at Q Bar.
Yes, Quincy Jones Q's Bar and Lounge out here. It's the first one they built in the world, and then they're getting ready to build one in London. And yes, I'm grateful. It's been in existence now. I'm going to get the year wrong. So, but I think it's been a little over 3 years now, and this is actually my second residency. I met Quincy Jones about like 3 years ago, actually, and through a man by the name of David Foster, who's also another producer legend. He has countless Grammys, and is responsible for one of the soundtrack of Bodyguard, Whitney Houston. That's one of his one of the many huge projects. And so I was very lucky to get to work with him. He would take me out to do different types of private fundraisers and things of that nature. And one that I got to do specifically, it was a star-studded event, and Quincy Jones happened to be there, and I got to perform that night with my friend Brenna Whitaker. And then David Foster said, "Come on," and he took me in the back and had me meet the legend, and it was just a wonderful thing. And then next thing you know, a year later, an opportunity came when I was actually in Cuba with my mom, because we were celebrating her 75th at the time. And I got the word that they would like me to go and play at Quincy Jones Bar with my own band. And now it's history. I played 90 shows the first time around, and then they brought me back again. And then the first time we won the best live music venue in Time Out, Dubai, and What's on Dubai.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
no
You got an
worries.
Amber Alert?
Here in Dubai, they do alerts because they've just upped the curfew. Here they have not been playing when it comes to the Rona, and they had moved the curfew back to 8 p.m. So that was an alarm to let you know that if you're still out and about, you should get home because you will face fines and or jail time if you do not listen. Oh yeah, they don't play here. Everywhere they've been ahead of everyone else. As far as like really, the whole quarantine and stay at home, they took it very seriously. Like, at first it looked like we would even be able to be around as far as my residency is concerned, where we ended like March 14th. And we thought it was going to be like a 2-week postponement type deal, but they did not play around. They have a curfew. So it's from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. You cannot be out on the streets. They're disinfecting everything, every mall, every car, every metro station, train station, bus, everything. They're not playing around. Even now, even to get in, I'm staying at the Palazzo Versace here. It's called Al Jadaf Waterfront where I'm staying, and they don't even to get into our building. You have to walk through this huge like chamber type deal. It's almost like going through like a security at an airport. One of those where you have to put your arms up. It's like kind of like that. You walk in and you have to get sprayed before coming in, and then they check your temperature.
Wow.
If you don't have a mask on, that's a fine. If you don't, and in some places, if you don't have gloves, it's a fine. Well, yeah, they're not playing. They're really they've been on the whole flattening of the curve thing. And right now it's Ramadan. And so they, carajo, caught it though.
Man, that cameraman, he's been drinking.
Right? I'm like, I know, over here, like, there's something special in my cafecito right here. Anyway. No. But yeah, they it's literally they've been on top of it and just doing their best to flatten it. And during Ramadan they had laxed it, and the curfew went from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. But now they've had an uptick in cases, so that's why they've that's why they kind of went back to it. I mean, I get it. I don't know if this thing is one of those, this virus. I don't know if it's something you can just get rid of. We've never gotten completely rid of any virus that's come or mutated or whatever, from SARS to MERS. These things are still around. Even H1N1 is still around, which is a version of the COVID. But I think they're just trying to.
The whole thing is just like not overwhelming the hospitals. Like the reality is, this thing is around. It's gonna be around. It is what it is right now. It's just like trying to stem the tide of people getting sick, so that our medical professionals can deal with it.
Facts, yeah.
Morgan, what were you? Correct me if I'm wrong. Were you Moulin Rouging before all this went down? Like, what was happening when quarantine happened for you?
I was on Broadway with Moulin Rouge, and we were actually the first show to shut down because we had a lot of cast members actually have COVID. But the day before, or the day that the producers shut down Broadway, we had already canceled our 2 shows because some of our cast members were getting sick, and they didn't know if it was positive yet, but they just wanted to take the precaution. And I was about to do some reshoots on a short film that I was directing with Reed, who's another cast member, that we had done in the fall, but we needed to do some reshooting on the first 2 scenes, and so we were about to do that. But yeah, that's basically was my a summary of my working life.
Yeah.
And I mean, go ahead, Liz.
No, go ahead.
No. This is tricky because I'm always like, I will jump in if I don't, because I talk too much. Go ahead.
How do you have either of you or both of you found different outlets with the arts post quarantine or during this time of quarantine? Whether or new talents, whether it be filmmaking or editing, or picked up an instrument that you always wanted to learn. Have you found that the arts have still been able to serve you as an outlet during this time?
Ladies first. Morgan, you want to answer first?
Sure. I think it's really cyclic for me. There are weeks where I'm really inspired by photography. I have all my equipment out here. And so, I'm taking it out on hikes and, really inspired by that. And then there are weeks where like, I don't want to be an artist. I just want to be a human, and I don't want people to ask me to be an artist, which I'm struggling with a little bit. People are like, will you do a video for this and this? Will you sing for blah, blah, blah? And though I want to, there is a part of me that's like, I'm a human that's actually just grieving some of the things that are going on. But in the weeks that I am inspired, which is really nice, I've been doing a lot of photography. A friend and I actually went into Times Square, and I kind of did a practice session with all my new equipment and stuff. And we did a music video. Her name is Ashley Loren, and she did a cover of Sam Smith's Pray.
I know Ashley.
So, yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
and so she got mad vocals.
She's wonderful. Yeah, that girl can sing.
Right. So we did a black and white kind of homage to New York, and we did a cover video for her. So that was really nice. And a lot of my friends actually, I think, are reaching out because of my interest in filmmaking, to do some projects, when we're allowed to have even 10 people in the room. So there's a lot of brainstorming for that going on. And that's kind of nice. I also have been, I was like, I don't need to use my voice right now, so I might as well train it. So I've been on that Zoom lesson, trying to get these riffs together, trying to get all of the mechanics correct. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And my boyfriend and I have been, he really loves like visual art, and so we've been like watercoloring randomly. Yeah. But that's basically it.
Nice, beautiful.
Wonderful.
That's exciting that you're getting to lean into that avenue of directing. I went on your website last night because she did her homework.
Hey, go ahead, girl.
I went on your website last night and I watched Pray and We Won't. I was just like, ooh, this is so good.
They're fun. Yeah, they're fun. They're like the beginnings of things. They're not perfect yet. And I was talking to someone and I was like, it's nice to have things that are still passions where they don't have to be perfect. Like your bar for them is not perfection. Nobody's necessarily paying you, their life's earnings investing in a project where everything depends on your directorial decision. I'm kind of trying to keep it that way until I really master skills, so it's still fun and not a requirement.
Yeah, it's beautiful to still have a sense of discovery during this time.
Yeah.
Rogelio?
Absolutely. Hey, yeah, I mean, it's been quite difficult. But similar to Morgan, there have been days when I was like, I was trying to force the creativity out of myself just to be like, to do something. Because I guess I was getting, I don't know if it's called cabin fever or just being at home and wanting to, just break out of it some kind of way, and it's easy for me to be a couch potato and just start watching tons of TV, which is what I did. Because usually I don't get that. Usually I'm running around from project to project constantly.
For sure.
And so I was like, let me just start watching some things, and maybe, I got to take some acting notes while watching some things. But then the moments that I did get inspired, I was able to start finishing up some music that's been like on the shelf for a little minute. Yeah. And I started reaching out to other producers. There's a guy by the name of Prince Board who produced a lot of, I always tease him like he's like the fifth Beatle for the Black Eyed Peas. And so he's produced a lot of records with will.i.am as well as Fergie. And so we had some things that we ended up selling to like Italian artists back in the day. And I was like, can you dust off some of these things, And I have this awesome woman out in Gdansk, Poland. I find myself I have a fan page, and a lot of people tease me because they're like, oh, you have a fan page. And they were like, I reached out to you on it. I was like, I don't run it. I was like, that's not
me.
It's not me at all. It's actually a real fan. And she somehow finds music and things that I never even put out. I am shocked at how she does it. I literally I was like, how did you do this? At moments I got a little, weirded out and nervous about it. But she said, no, it's all just love. And so she's found like music of mine that's been released in like Finland and Estonia. She's found, and she's found videos and stuff. And so sometimes like, I thought to like get involved in moments, but then it wouldn't be organic. Like she'll post things that I know that I myself would not post. I'd be like, ooh, I went a little flat there. I was a little scratchy on that one. I was
story
definitely
of
eating a
my
lot
life.
of pizzas in those days. She got me at a bad angle, but I in a lot of ways it motivated me to want to get some things out and to get it going. But I can admit that I've struggled a bit with that. But what's been awesome, some awesome projects that I've, post quarantine, not post quarantine, excuse me, post the Rona outbreak, Postmodern Jukebox, a band that's gotten really famous, like on
That
YouTube.
video is
Thanks
so
to Matt.
cool.
Oh, you saw? Thank you.
I did my homework.
Oh, go ahead, girl. Go on now.
See it.
Go on now. Thank you so much. It's literally it's my first official video with Scott Bradley. Everyone comes in sometimes with ideas. Sometimes he has the idea, and we actually had sat down and I kind of I guess divulged to him that one of my secret I don't know, I guess pleasures or whatever. People don't know this, but I'm a big fan of actually like U2 and Bono. And not everybody knows that until you really look at some videos where I have on like a jacket with like shades. People are like, what is he doing? And then if you think that think about Bono and you go, oh, okay, I get it now. And so at any rate, we were talking and I also let him know about, I love soul. Like, so I don't know why I've never really accepted that part of me. It's always been something kind of never really divulged or even did much of. So I've been working on that as an artist and recording artist, I should say. And so I'm talking about like, figures like Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, James Brown.
You were living all of those guys in that video.
Absolutely.
You were living that.
What video is this?
I was paying homage. It's called okay, I'll give it to you. It's called I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. And it's our PMJ Postmodern Jukebox version of it. I had come up with the idea, and then Scott was like, I like it. And it's actually one of like 4 big ideas that we have. So he's kind of excited, I guess, for when I get back home to do some of my other guilty pleasures, you know what I mean? And so, and rock and everything else. And so, I got to do a live, we called it Enchantment Under the Quarantine. So we recently did a virtual concert, which was nice even for my guys here, because we got to use the Q's Bar and Lounge stage. They allowed me to go in there, and it's Ramadan, so it was a big deal, but they allowed it. I was like, it's 15 minutes, and it's for the fans. And it's one way, the proceeds were going to support all of us artists that are currently out of work. I actually was supposed to go on tour with him to host the show. I'm one of his MCs now for the tour. And we were supposed to go to like North Africa and the UK literally in like June. That obviously everything is postponed now. And so it was actually a nice way to just kind of be virtually with my other family, my Postmodern Jukebox family. And so we got to do that just recently. We just did that. And it was actually quite a success. I forget what the actual number was, but we raised in the tens of thousands. So it was really nice, and it was a donation show. It was a donation show. And
I love it.
Yeah, doing that. And I'm playing guitar now.
Yes.
I'm shocked that I told you guys that, but yeah, I got like 5 chords down. I was telling you guys. I just want to surprise people one day. All of a sudden, I'm on there. Oh heck yeah! Here are my notes.
One chord at a time.
All my cheats for like when I'm playing.
And
all my finger stuff.
There's so many songs that are those 4 basic chords.
Oh, 100%.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
I'm teaching my mom the ukulele. And I'm like, Mom,
get it.
She's working on it. She practices every day, multiple times a day. I'm very proud of her. And it's not easy for her because she's not in any way musically inclined. Like this is not, she can't read music. She only plays. She does not sing.
Okay. I was like, does she have an ear? It's all right.
No. She will not sing. She will not. And I think she's okay, but she just has. And if I was better with music theory or teaching music, I guess I could probably teach her how to sing. But like, I don't know how to vocalize that for her. So
gotcha.
She just was like, I'll play and you sing. I'm like, oh, okay.
Great.
And 1 chord a week, baby, 1 chord a week, and we're doing it.
Get it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to Mama. I support her. I know she doesn't know me. I'm sending her love and support.
I will let her know.
know.
She's in the back right now. It's like, don't go on the computer. She's on the back. She's in the back right now watching her telenovelas.
Yeah, get it, mommy. I get it. Mi mamá también. She's doing it too.
She's catching up on all of them. You know, and I understand that thing about it ebbs and flows. I think people forget that as artists, we are human beings who are also grieving the loss of what our lives were, you know?
Absolutely.
And nervously awaiting what our careers are going to be moving forward. So it's hard sometimes because everybody wants you to get involved. Everybody, thank you for being a part of this video, by the way.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants you to be involved and get creative and just like as if it just comes out of you every single day. Yeah. But you're like, no, sometimes I just need to stay in bed and be sad because I don't know when I get to do this again. Or sometimes I have to, like pretend like all of this does not exist and go, ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, you better get inside.
You better get inside.
You better get inside.
I'm already inside. Look, I'm good. I'm inside. I'm chilling.
I love it.
So I forgot to ask you guys before we started. So Café Con Leche, usually the most important question is, how do you like your coffee? You know, do you like it hot? Do you like it cold? Do you like it sweet, like a gentle lover? How do you like it?
Okay. These descriptions.
Yes. Come on.
Go ahead, Rogelio.
Well, you know what? I've recently changed how I take my coffee now. I used to love it, Café Con Leche, like light and sweet. That was like always my thing. But now I have a thing for it being dark, very dark and sweet. So yeah, that's what it is. That's what it's about.
Like you. Right
hey, baby.
Bye.
Morgan's like, that's it. That was my limit.
I'm out. Goodbye, Zoom. I'm just kidding.
Morgan, how about you? How you like your cafe?
I have so I think my favorite kind of coffee is an iced coffee with lavender in it. What? But
go ahead, lavender.
Yeah, but that's like only really in the summer, so these months coming up. But normally I can't have dairy, and so there's a special creamer. It's French vanilla, and it is light and sweet, and it's when the coffee is super strong, then you got that creamer in there. The way I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
nice.
I like a little coffee in my milk.
Yeah. Amazing. That's amazing. It's perfect.
I love my Bustelo nice and strong with just a splash of whole milk.
Go ahead, Bustelo. I can't wait.
Bustelo
when I get home,
is the shit.
I have 2 pots. I will be like like my grandma had back in the day. I have 2 of them at my house back in LA, and I know the moment I get back there, I'm getting several bricks.
I love it.
I'll be Café Bustelo.
When we
dark and sweet.
When we first started the series, it was at Cincinnati Playhouse in the Park, and every other day we would shoot an episode with a different cast member or 2, and we would brew Bustelo beforehand and actually fill up the mugs with Bustelo for everybody that we were interviewing.
You guys have to interview. You know who Carlos Gonzalez is?
I don't know if I do know Carlos.
Okay, well, you need to write his name down right now, because first of all, he's sponsored by Café Bustelo. Second of all, he did the 2nd national tour of In the Heights. He met his husband there. He did On Your Feet on Broadway, and he is a riot. He has this character named Hilda, and he puts one of the emojis like a Latin mother like emoji on, and then he puts on a dress on his body, and then he's like, oh my God, it's fucking hilarious. Look him up, and you have to interview him.
I think I actually do know who this is after you've given me that description. I don't know.
You're gonna love it.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down in my notes.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
We'll look him up. We'll get him on here. And that actually is a perfect segue to how we are all connected, which is through In the Heights.
Yay, familia.
So I know, right? And it's, we were trying to figure out a way to connect all of us, right? Well, and all you got to do is pick one thing. I feel like if you're anybody, not just shows, but if there's something that you're passionate about, there's a specific job that you really love or a hobby that you really love, that's how you find connection. And it's amazing how big that world is, how big that web is of family, right? So like y'all were both on the first national tour. Yes.
That's when we first met. I remember that. A young Morgan. Oh my God, I remember her. Oh,
yo, I've been going through. I have been going through pictures.
I know young Morgan.
Stupid. Yo, that was a riot. That tour was a riot. I've been going through old pictures. It's not right. It's not right.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
The families that this show creates are so much fun. I've done technically two productions. The second production did lots of shows in lots of places, which is how Alyssa and I know each other.
Okay, gotcha.
But like I was going the other day, I was telling Alyssa I was going through my computer and like getting rid of pictures, and I was backing them up onto an external hard drive and then like emptying out my computer to make room for stuff. And I backed up / erased over 3,000 videos and pictures. A third of those were in the Heights. A third of all of that was in that, because you want to videotape and take pictures of all the tomfoolery and all the memories, because they're so beautiful. These families are so rich, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it felt so immediate. Like the love, the group just goes like that.
Oh,
Day
absolutely.
2.
Yeah. I was just like kind of giggling, only not at what you were saying. I kind of remember it being like that. I don't want to cuss on here, but like it was just like an ungodly hour, and we had to be on a bus. And I'm like, Morgan, do you remember me getting upset? Morgan was like beat down, number one, and had her phone out. And I think she was like recording us from her phone, or actually had a camera. I can't even remember, but I remember like, Morgan, no. Turn that off. I got big bricks of coal in my eye. I'm not trying to be on this video right now, woman. Oh my God.
Nobody
memory.
wanted to be on the video, but these videos are so good. Now it's like it's like I should just send a Dropbox out to the entire tour family and be like, you're welcome. And also
I think you should post it. Just shock us.
You. No. Some of it can never be posted.
Like, we're family. We know a little too much about each other.
Right. I have things like the last time we used to do sound check every tour we went, or every city we did. And it was like, we had choreography to it every time, Nina sang Breathe. And it was like a whole thing that we did, like a ritual basically. And I have the pictures and I think the video from like the last time we did it in Miami, and everyone's like crying and it's our closing sound check. And we're all doing the choreography, and it's like whatever, those moments where you're like, dang, that tour changed our lives forever.
Absolutely.
It's so
changed my life forever, for sure.
Yeah. It's so phenomenal how this show happens to do that, and it's really the people. And I mean, you two are responsible for the very first production I was in, and
eso.
Yeah, I mean,
you're part of my extended family. A family I didn't realize I was gonna get. Yeah.
And now
I'm happy. I'm happy. I know. I love you too much. Now y'all can't get rid of me.
Right.
So it's a whole thing. I mean, it definitely starts from the top, to be honest. The love, being this was like my first official quote unquote Broadway show, because I got to be
Broadway cast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. OBC, baby. But it's what's beautiful about it is how we all kind of came into it, because I didn't know, you hear all the stories about, people making their Broadway debuts and or being a part of an original Broadway cast, and all the kind of like drama and the things that could happen. And especially for me, I was a understudy / swing, so I was responsible for like 7 roles. This show stretched me further than I ever thought I could be stretched, because I didn't think I was capable of all that. Like, to be honest, to memorize each track and everything else, and then the pressure of it as well, and but what was beautiful was, I always call him Big Bro. I haven't seen him in a while, but C-Jack, Chris Jackson, also with Lynn would come by every day, every show, nonstop, all 8 shows. He'd always come by and visit every dressing room. He'd visit everybody, check in with everybody. And then also we always had a circle that I think I even tried to pass on to other offsprings of the show. You know what I mean?
Which
under the
it
same
made it to
umbrella,
our
of course.
show.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's beautiful. I love that.
That's so beautiful. Because that's really what it's about. And, you know, dare I say it, the presence of God as well, or whatever you believe, the universe. You know, I just think it was always something about bringing us all together and us knowing that we were going on that stage to support one another like a true family. Because that's really what it took to put on that show. And it took all of us being at our best. You know what I mean? And even on those days you might have felt slightly off, everyone was there to prop you up. Like, you know, well, like, you could sit on my shoulder. I got you, you know? And it was absolutely beautiful to be a part of. From that to going to literally my first Tonys, you know, getting to watch that. And, you know, it was beautiful. And then running up on stage because we won the show we won Best Musical. Everyone said, you know, there was a lot of chatter in those days. And they were saying how it could never work and a hip hop show would never. We heard it all, and from all the divas that were in every show, you know what I mean. You hear all this stuff, and all the negativity surrounding it, and you know, it's just beautiful to see what's turned out from it, and the different families, and what it's even done for my career. I never thought I would. It was like a happenstance. Like they called me to direct it and choreograph it, and I was like, can I really take on this? I remember hitting up Morgan like, hey girl, what you doing? I'm willing to cut some of this salary I'm getting, give you some of it, you know, and let's try to make this thing happen. And you know, it's just beautiful from the original Broadway cast and even to the tour, the bonds that I still have with people. It's been beautiful. And even to my new family, when I went out to Colorado, I didn't expect it to take me I didn't expect it. You don't know where the journey is going to take you, to be honest, but I'm grateful, honestly. And like the family that I have because of it, Alyssa, you already know. I love y'all. You already know. So it's just been beautiful, you know. And yeah, I'm gonna pass the Zoom baton to somebody else.
I will say that I'm forever grateful for those nuggets of love and knowledge that you bestowed upon that company at Midtown Arts Center. We definitely, as Lillian said, the circle has made it into every production I've been able to be a part of. Ryan, any of our friends, Hector.
My hermanito.
Yes.
I love Ryan.
And even the knowledge of like visiting people before the show. Lillian can actually attest to this because Lord knows I try my best to be on time, but it's a trial and a tribulation.
It's all right.
Look, we are 5 minutes to places, and this one still doesn't have a face on. I'm like, how are you doing this?
But before every show, I would manage to touch every single person in our cast, and my thing became saying "slay" instead of "slay," "slay." So, and that's because of you guys. So, yeah.
Hey.
Morgan, do you want to? Morgan, do you want to speak more on your journey and where it's taking you, how you feel about it, how it changed you, what you didn't expect or did?
Yeah, I mean, that show, it changed my life in like literally, you know, every way. It was my first big professional job. It was man, there's like so many stories. I feel like I could just like go down a whole rabbit hole, but the first show I ever saw was Moving Out. And it was in the Richard Rodgers Theater. And when I was in callbacks for the tour, I went and didn't realize that I was at the Richard Rodgers Theater again to watch In the Heights, which I didn't realize. I watched it. I was like, wow, that was amazing. It was like my second, maybe third Broadway show. And then I got to do Hamilton and make my Broadway debut also in that theater. And so it like just even that circle alone and being like, had I not been in the Heights and not been able to do that show, like my journey just would have been totally different. And it was also my directorial debut. I got to do it in Cabrillo in California, and we actually just had a Zoom reunion for that production. And they're still really close. And so it just like, there's so many different pods of families. And I remember, Alyssa, you guys drove up for the reunion concert, right?
Yeah, I think we had just came back to New York. Yeah.
From
Colorado. So we drove back. We drove to Colorado and drove back and then came to the reunion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I just remember being like, oh, this is cool. Like we have so many generations of abuelas and ninas and, you know, familia that like, everyone loves this show and wants to support it. And it's rare that you find that. And I think, you know, I've even had a hard time going into productions sort of expecting or hoping that it would be this bond that In the Heights had. And it's not, I don't want to say it's never quite the same, but it also is because like it's your first show, right? Or it was my first show. So it was like I had rose-colored glasses on for sure. But also just getting to travel the world, and like it just was an opportunity that that changed my life forever, for sure.
I think this show just has that. I mean, I've created families in other shows as well, but there's something different. There's something very special about the family you create in this show.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, the last production we did in Portland,
which Rogelio saw.
I came through. We had 6 new people. So we had done it in 3 other cities with the original cast. And then when we did it a year later, 6 people could not come back. So we had 6 new people, and 3 of them had never done In the Heights before. 4 of them had never done In the Heights before, and 2 of them had never done any kind of show at all before. And we were just like, we want to prepare you because this is not how they all are.
Yeah. I know. I was gonna say that because Morgan said it, and I was like, Morgan, you can say it. It's not the same. I know what it's like to be part of the In the Heights family and then have to move to another show. And actually, Karen Olivo, we were the ones, because she had moved on from the original Broadway cast, and so had I. I never mentioned it, but like I didn't have an agent at the time. Like I got even the original cast to an open call. It was, you know, my agent was Backstage Newspaper, literally. I would go get a newspaper.
Backstage West or Backstage East or whatever the fuck.
God damn, you're so cool and talented.
And I went in, and it was crazy. It was a crazy thing just to get through all those walls. And you know, and then I was lucky enough to get found by Disney, and then I moved on to playing Sebastian the Crab for them, which was like literally right across the street from the Richard Rogers. So I'd be over there at the lunch, but they're like in between shows, I would want to like go back to like In the Heights and go hang out, and then Karen would be there too, and she was like, they there, and everybody would tease us like while we were there. We had our own shows, but I was like, you have no idea, like it's not this at all. You know what I mean? I went over there, and I have nothing but love for the cast that I was with, and you know, and I still have bonds, you know, till this day. But my main bond is really Ephraim Sykes. Like that's like my bro. And he's just tearing it up. He's just tearing it up, and I'm proud of him. And so he was like my major bond, even from like that show. But yeah, it's just not the same. It just isn't. There's something about this show, the way it lives, the way it breathes, the life that it breathes into you. You know, and I can always say it just starts from the top down. I mean, it's the way it was done, man. I can't thank the man enough, to be honest. It really is a testament to Lynn and you know, those guys. I think now because of Hamilton, they call it the cabinet, but I knew them through In the Heights before that, you know what I mean? But like, they've always been a unit, and it just starts with Lynn. It starts with the love that he pours into all of it, and he spreads throughout everybody, and it becomes infectious. And as long as everyone, you know, it's a family. I'm not saying that every production hasn't had its story, you know what I mean? But, you know, when you get back to the love of it and the love of what we do, and the fact that this show even exists to even be able to tell the story that it tells, you know, that it's just amazing. And I mean, I'm happy. Who knew we'd be doing this? I'm like, it continues on. It keeps moving, and it keeps morphing. And so I think that's just beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wrangle this to an end here. Basically, ahead, I know I'm wrangling it because listen, we could talk. Alyssa said to me, she's like, "Oh, the videos will be anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes." I'm like, "That's a lie. Why are we lying to ourselves?"
Okay,
that's a lie.
We got Latinos over here. We're gonna be talking for a while.
For a minute, you know, back in Cincinnati, we only had a set amount of time because we're like, we got to get ready for the show, and we film before the show every day, or not every day, but once a week. And so it was just like,
that was ambitious,
right?
Right before the show.
It was like, get it done, get it done, get it done. And so it was quick.
Wow.
We had like 10 minutes before the open house because we did it on the set. And so, I was like, that is just not the reality of what's about to happen. Okay, so real quick before we go, the other thing we really wanted to do with this thing is we asked our guests that are coming on to let us know about theater projects or theaters period that have that they want to feature. Morgan, you gave me Moonlight Theater. Moonlight Stage Productions has been producing musical theater for the enjoyment of audiences from throughout Southern California and beyond for 38 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they have an amphitheater that seats 2,000 people. They put on 4 musicals every summer. Clearly, that is not going to happen this summer. So, if you can find it in your heart to donate, go to www.moonlightstage.com. And donate. And I feel like at this point in time, it's hard to ask people to donate because everybody's out of work and stuff. But like, if I think about it, if I have $25 that I don't need for something, and I donate $1 to 25 theaters, if 1,000 people donated $1 to a theater, that's $1,000, right? So, if you can find it in your heart to donate, please do. And then Rogelio, you gave me the Ebony Theater. So www.ebonyrep.com. One second. I got that right before we started, so I didn't.
No, it's okay.
Didn't write it
no
down.
worries.
So the
right.
Ebony Theater is a newly formed equity company. In LA, their mission, I'm going to read it 1 second. The mission of the Ebony Repertory Theater is to create, develop, nurture, and sustain a world-class professional theater rooted in the experience of the African diaspora and shaped by a dynamic perspective that incorporates an understanding of and respect of the unique African-American journey to freedom. So please. Oh, you gave me something else. Oh, I didn't write it down. What was the other thing?
It's okay. It's called For the Record Live.
Yeah.
Just
For the record, baby.
Two companies that are actually responsible literally for even me coming back to even doing live theater, to be honest. Because, through In the Heights is something I never really shared. But what my journey out of it was through after the first national tour. Now everybody knows I actually lost my brother while I was on tour.
Oh my God.
And so it was it just changed me. And to be honest, I'm happy that people talk about mental health now. I think at the time it was something I probably should have undergone. I should have spoken to someone, a specialist. What people don't know as well is I lost him while we were on tour in Miami, and then again when we went to Japan. This woman, my mother's best friend, I always called her my Aunt Jess. Aunt Jess is Jewish. I never knew she wasn't my blood relative. I swear to God. And Aunt Jess took me to every Broadway show, everything. Her and my mom would take me to see everything. Yeah, I love her all the time. And unfortunately, when we were in Japan, I lost her there. And then when I got back to town, I then ended up losing my uncle as well, all in the same year. And it was a thing. It was just one of those kind of things, not to make a somber tone, but it was something for me that where I didn't know it affected me the way it had. And in a way where, For the Record Live kind of came into my life, maybe about a year or so later from after everything. And they were just doing theater in a new way. And they were kind of combining theater and recording artists and television, famous television actors and film actors. We were all getting part of doing this new version of theater, and where they would take movies and take the soundtracks to those different films, and then that's how they would pay homage to different directors. And so one of them, one of the many that I did, but was Tarantino Live, they called it. And I actually got to meet Quentin Tarantino because of this. Cool. And it opened up other doors in Hollywood for me that I really didn't expect. And it really brought me back to theater. And then with the Ebony Repertory Theater, I recently did a production for them called Five Guys Named Mo that even got me back in contact with another one of my brothers, Daniel J. Watts. He just happened to be in town and came to see the show. Yep, I love him. I love Danny. And because of them, I ended up winning it's called the Ovation Awards here in LA. So I won Best Supporting Actor and then we won Best Ensemble. So that's why I wanted to shout those people out, because they brought me back, and literally at Ebony Repertory Theater, they sat me down, and it was like Oba Babatunde, Renty Brown. These are like legendary men, you know, in the field of not only theater, but television and film. And they literally sat me down, and they were like, you need to go back to performing. You should never not be on a stage. And I literally was in tears. I was in tears. I was crying. They're like, we know this. They had a big dinner for us. They're like, we know how you feel. We know your story. We know the pain that lies there, but you need to be on a stage. And so I really coined them, and also the creators of For the Record Live, Shane Shield, and all those people for, you know, not letting the live performer in me drift off somewhere. You know, I changed my focus to like television and film, and then writing music for television and film, which is, I now have things in that area, which I'm grateful. I have a career there, but you know, they brought me back to wanting to perform live on stage. So I'm just grateful to those men. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I want to. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Morgan.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I just am thinking of, like, as Rogelio speaks, like, you know, theater companies that have been formative in my life, and I think Moonlight is where I started, and so that definitely is one. But they have donors, and they have like a system. But one that I don't think does, or is really small, is a classical theater company called Antaeus in LA, and they do, like, you know, Greek theater and classics, and I did the Crucible with them, and they are such a small, amazing family.
Antaeus?
Anteaus. And they really taught me a lot about the classics. And they are a lot of like, they're generationally in television and film, but they love theater, so they just donate their time and they go back to doing these small productions. So they really took me under their wing, and I just kind of like to shout them out, because they're a pretty small company that may not have those.
We'll include all the websites for these things.
Cool.
Thank you guys.
You know,
this is beautiful.
Thank you guys.
Hey.
And Lillian, I'm getting to meet you for the first time. So when this quarantine thing is over, I gotta give you a big hug, number one, and we gotta do something fun. Whatever
yes,
it
please.
is, we're gonna do something.
Totally.
Okay. I'm
into it. We almost got to meet. We were so close when you were in Portland.
Oh, yeah?
We were so close. We almost got to meet.
For real?
Yeah,
it was like, and I was spending so much time. I was like, and I felt bad because I know Alyssa. I was like, it was so much of like Ryan and I, like, because that's like my little brother. so we were just spending so much time together. But yeah, I just love them. I love you guys. Alyssa, you know I love you.
Love both
you already know.
so much. Thank you guys. Yeah. I love you guys so much. Forever, you know. And thank you so much for helping us remind people how connected we all are, and about you know, the power and love of theater. You know, that's what the ultimate goal of this is, to remind people, to shout out these theater companies, and however we can all come together as a community, the country, the world, to help keep the arts alive is so important, because it fuels not only our lives but our hearts and our souls, because of families like this. So thank you guys.
That's right.
Of
right.
Course.
Thank you.
Love you, Morgan. It's good to see your face, boo.
You too.
Love you, baby girl.
Love you,
It's been too long.
Thank you again to Rogelio Douglas Jr. and Morgan Marcell for being our guests today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Alyssa, for doing this with me. I love you so much.
Love you too, girl.
Thank you. I know. And thank you all for tuning in. And we hope that your cafe is always exactly the way you like it. Bye.
See you soon.